Welcome back to the Modern Edge. We're working on another man wave project, and you can see that short hair may be about 1.5 to 2 inches long. So we've used small rods and rollers to be able to put in a brick laid fashion perm wrap just on the top, because we're going to clipper cut on the sides, and we're going to do a rod to roller perm. So we're going to start by using small rods and an alkaline wave. And then once that's been processed, we're going to rinse as normal. We're going to use a bond builder as an interim treatment, and then re-roll on larger rods and neutralize. So it'll reinforce that shape by the small rollers, giving you a strong curl pattern. And then when it's neutralized, it'll lock it in as a wave rather than a tight curl. We'll be back in a bit with the next part of the process. Okay, so 10 minutes has gone by, and we're going to do a test curl. And again, we're working with an alkaline wave, so we should have a pretty strong curl formation. So we want to unwind and see how that's developing. So that still looks like a nice open C pattern. It doesn't look like a strong S or curl yet. So we're going to check it again in another 5 minutes. And when it has a strong curl pattern closer to the true rod size, that's when we'll rinse. So just continue to check every 5 to 10 minutes as manufacturer's directions. We've now rinsed our perm solution out, and we're going to allow the hair just to sit and air neutralize for 5 minutes. So when you're doing a rod to roller or a transfer wrap, the rule of 5 always applies. So check your perm solution every 5 minutes. When you're doing your test curls, rinse for 5 minutes, air neutralize for 5. If you're using a bond treatment, it would be in an interim step, would be now for 5 minutes. And then we're going to do our transfer and roll onto a larger rod or a roller, and that will sit for 5, and then you'll neutralize for 5. So always remember the rule of 5 minutes. So this is the next step. We've now dropped out our original perm rods, the tight small, the pink size, and then you can see it gave us these really tight curls. So if you're going for more of a poodle look or a super tight look, you can leave that in place. But we're going to go through and wrap it on a larger rod now and stretch that out and open it up into a nice wave is going to be the next process. So we combed through those perm rods and loosened that up, and we're going to subdivide our sections in between where the other perm rods were, so that way we don't have any roller marks or sections as we go back. So we'll show you the next step as we get to it. Okay, you can see we started to do our transfer wrap. So now we're going to comb everything smooth and use about medium sections, and making sure you keep a good amount of tension because we want to reform these curls into the larger shape. And still using end papers to keep the ends smooth. You can add a little bit of water to keep everything in good condition and direction, and then roll in your larger carver tool, and then just work it until those ends get smooth, and then anchor it down on base. And by using the unique elastic, it's going to prevent it from having too much tension on the hair. So we're just going to continue to roll back and do our transfer and do a brick lay pattern to be able to stagger them so there won't be any lines of demarcation. And here's our finished transition part of the wrap. So we've used medium carver texture tools with medium based sections with a lot of tension. And then another trick, as you can see right in here, is if you put your end paper further forward, that way when you roll with your tension, it'll keep all of those ends encapsulated in. And again, the idea of the transfer wrap or rod to roller is to be able to use more tension to expand out that wave pattern. Instead of having tight curls, it's going to be loose waves. We'll now proceed with our neutralizing process, drop and rinse, and you'll be able to see the end result. And then this is the end result of our transitional wrap doing our man wave, just to give some volume and texture, to be able to do more of a punk pomp kind of a look. Give some volume and take that really straight hair and give it some body and some texture into it. The reason for doing a transitional wave would be having hair too short to be able to grab with your fingers with a larger roller, or that it may slip out during the rinsing and processing part. So by using a smaller rod to do the first part of the permanent transition, and then neutralizing on a larger rod, such as we use our medium carvers, to be able to loosen it up and just give a little bit of texture and movement in the hair without having it be curly.